every year we get asked about whether it's on the show or in person, doing kilts and such for Halloween costumes. 'Tis the season. And I think most of you who are regular viewers will know what our standard stock opinion on that is. But this question was kind of similar, so I'm going to throw this out there. Russell Smith said, "You've mentioned Star Wars costumes with kilts and tartans in them before. Yes, we have some photos of like that. Is it tasteful to use a kilt in cosplay? If so, what are some other genres or characters that could be kilted for a convention?" It means like a science fiction convention. "I ask this with the utmost sincerity and not as mockery. What are your thoughts?" So, what does it mean if you're combining a kilt with some sort of a costume for a thing like that?
Sure. The I I would say, using your phrase, the utmost respect, and not wanting to have it a mockery. It depends on who you ask, just like anything. Like if you are a staunch traditionalist adhering to tradition convention, anything outside of traditional Highland dress is mockery, almost by definition.
Right.
If you are coming at it from an angle of this is just a fun fashion thing, I'm not doing it for any particular heritage reason, then it's all fair game. So, and then there's a huge sliding scale in between. Are the traditionalists going to think you are mocking them? It's your how dare you do this with their sacred Highland dress? Yeah, they're going to feel like that. Are on the other end of the scale? Are they saying like you guys are too uptight and da 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 da, and I'm going to do what I want? Sure. Which one's right? Don't know. There is no right or wrong answer. There's your answer. For us, I would lean more one direction than the other. So I wouldn't do anything that I thought was mocking. I wouldn't do anything that I thought was tasteless with Highland dress. But I would incorporate it into my daily life, but I wouldn't necessarily incorporate it into a costume outside of like a great kilt. So when I go to Flyers games, I will wear my Flyers jersey with my Broad Street Bully tartan, C right there, copyright right there. But I'll wear or sterling orange or like a tartan that matches my Flyers jersey. A lot of sports people, sports fans, do that kind of thing or enough. At the other end, I wouldn't personally try to be like a Highland samurai, type thing, but that's me. I would draw a line there. Do I think that person is doing something horrible and, they should burn in hell? No. It's what they want to do. So as long as it's not hurting somebody, fine. Is it watering it down? Is it playing at the culture? Is it making it into a caricature? You can make the argument yes, you can make the argument no. Erik?
Very political answer of you.
Thank you.
There may or may not be pictures of me on the internet as a kilted Sith Lord. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I've done it, but it's for a specific context. Like we often say, context is king. Insert graphic here. I don't have a problem with kilts as part of a for fun cosplay, but in a way, I've been in that culture all my life, So to me, it comes off as normal. Would I wear costume elements with a kilt going out on a regular basis? No. Would I go to a Highland Games or or something like that in a Jedi robe and a kilt? Hell no. I've seen some weird things at festivals, I will admit, but and there is sometimes people who like to blend Highland dress with fantasy, especially. Like I've seen elf ears on people who are otherwise in like some kind of fantasy LARPing kind of gear going around at a regular Highland Games as opposed to a LARP or a costume party. And it's kind of like, come on, man. I mean, I will say they add color. It's kind of part of the landscape at this point. It's kind of like it's for fun, and it's a little bit of the spectrum of things. And I kind of almost enjoy it because it's become part of the background. But would I choose to do it? No, I don't think it's correct. And it's just like there's some days when you wear a tie and some days where you don't. There's some days where you make sure you're looking properly dressed, and there are some days where you don't worry about it. You don't wear the same thing on a date that you do going to I don't know, a wedding.
Yep. The
My
other thing
metaphors are leaving me, but
the other thing I'll point out is there seems to be, and I've felt a pull on certain things years and years and years ago, and I'm gonna kind of bring it around to something that's kind of starting to bubble up to the surface, and the cosplay thing kind of fits into it a little bit. When you spend a certain amount of money, over a certain amount of money, on a kilt or on historical garb or on anything, at some point you kind of think, okay, well, if I spent $500 on this kilt, or if I spent $100 on this this style of shirt, insert style here, you want to get your money's worth out of it. So you kind of try to figure out ways. There's a pull at you to want to incorporate it into your everyday wear, and I've thought of that for a long time. Like, when am I ever going to wear this thing again? And then you just kind of make up excuses to wear the thing because you feel guilty because you spent so much money on it. And that's kind of, in my opinion, where the whole history bounding Comic-Con, like incorporating things into your daily life, is kind of coming from. Is people spending inordinate amounts of money on stuff that they think is fun or cool. They wear it to an event. They feel like they're having a good time at the event, and they figure, why stop there? Why just wear it to that event? I should wear it other places as well. And then they kind of incorporate it into their daily wear, and that's kind of where the movement of history bounding and things like that, in my mind, if I had to guess, that's where it kind of is coming from. Mac, Eric, do either of you have an opinion on that? Mac, from your experience as a reenactor, do you ever want to wear out your GI, 1942 GI jacket with your kilt, or out into the world if you're shoveling snow or whatever?
I mean, I incorporate that stuff out in different times. Like I'll wear my M43 jacket out every now and then, just to get some wear into it. Just so that way when I go to an event, there's no brand new.
yeah.
I mean,
different.
there would have been stuff issued brand new, but I want to have some sort of wear to it. But a lot of the stuff, like I'm not wearing my PO8 web gear or walking around town.
Right.
Like certain things maybe I'll wear here and there just to break them in, to get some wear into them. Like I know guys who have worn roughouts, GI boots, mowing the lawn just to get some wear into them. So they're doing it
for a reason.
Not necessarily wearing it to wear it.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily talking about that. Although that is a very, very interesting kind of side angle to it. I'm thinking more along the lines of, do you ever say okay, I'm going to wear this military, radar style beanie from MASH, or you're going to wear this military sweater, or these wool pants that you got for reenactment, just because it fits the day or it fits an aesthetic that you're going for, or something like that. Have you ever felt that draw, or am I nuts? Those may be two separate questions.
For me, I'd say no, not really.
Okay.
There's not really, even the time periods I've done, like certain time periods aren't gonna look. It's gonna look odd.
You don't
very
break out
odd.
your tricorn hat.
Yeah, like if wearing breech, Revor breeches out somewhere. It's certain things can be integrated, like shirts and sweaters, and they can be fine and they'll blend in well, or maybe not necessarily blend in well. They'll stand out. But for me, no. If I'm gonna wear it, I'm either wearing it to an event or at an event, or
Okay.
I'm wearing it just to break it in more.
Eric, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. I totally get where Mac's coming from with the you're breaking in gear. It's the same thing as dragging something behind your car for a day to get some scuff and some dirt on it and stuff. But no, I think you guys are both forgetting about the sex. Most of the time when I've seen kilts added to cosplay, it's been a combination of either A, wanting to change it up a little bit for the heck of it, for fun, just to be different, just to go out, do a mashup, get outside the box a little bit, or it's because you're playing into the sex appeal of the kilt. So, what's better than what's better than Captain America? Captain America in a kilt, you know?
Yeah.
What's better than, the stormtroopers? I don't know. I don't, it's like, but
All them
I,
sexy stormtroopers.
right, exactly. But some people apparently do find that sexy. I've seen some stuff. But but you see what I mean? It's basically the kilt is like a talisman, and it's like if you add it to your costume, then you have the power of the kilt behind you, and you are mightier as a cosplayer.
This is the quickening!
And it's just fun. It's either to get more attention, or it's because you just want to change it up, or you want to make it a sexy kind of a thing. I think.
And I think we're coming at it. We're coming at it from two different angles, or coming at it from like I would view going to a Comic-Con or as the same thing as going to an event. Like it would be very similar in that aspect. So, to just walk around, like maybe going to Gettysburg and walking around there in full uniform would be very similar. Like that's where we would compare more as I hit the mic.
Yeah, or I could see like to that example, I could see like if you're going to Gettysburg or something like that and wearing a kepi, just so that if another reenactor is there, you're flying the flag and you're like, oh, hey, that's somebody who I might want to talk to.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will wear a tartan kilt for that purpose because they want to fly the flag so they can get the attention of people who might know what it is and have a conversation, have a connection with people. And I think that happens in the cosplay and the con scene also. It's partly that as well. But yeah, the reasons why people add kilts to cosplay these days are myriad. But I think it originally started as, let's take the power and the confidence and the sexiness of a kilt and add it to something we already think is awesome. But again, it's a special occasion. It's the context that matters.
Yep. 100%.
So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Halloween costumes. Yeah, I think keep it fantasy or keep it loosely historical. But don't go out there in your regular. Don't go wearing like your formal Highland wear. Like your Prince Charlie out for Halloween. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. If you, I would say this: if you do, expect some potential pushback.
Hey, I am a total subculture nerd. I think I've swum through a bunch of them over the years. Where have you been in your travels, and have there been kilted people there? I mean, do you go to cons? Do you go to anime conventions? Do you go to LARPs? Do you go to the SCA? Do you do historical reenactment? Tell us in the comments where you encounter kilts that are not in the usual context of a Highland game or a formal event or something like that. Very curious to know where you're coming from with your journey in the kilts.